information to help you run your business better and improve your marketing campaigns. My name is Hank Hoffmeier, and thank you for joining me on Hank's Marketing and Business Tips. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining me on Hank's Marketing and Business Tips. I'm joined today by John Hayes. I've worked with John Hayes through eye contact for about 6 years, so we have a long relationship. We bounce ideas off of each other, and even though he's across the pond, we find time to talk not only on social media, but on the phone or in person like we are today. I'm glad that he's able to come on the show. Welcome, John. Hope you're having a great day, because yours has already started over there in Lincolnshire, UK, right?
Hi, thanks for inviting me along. Actually, I live in Lincolnshire in the UK, but I'm actually speaking to you today from Portugal, from the Algarve in Portugal. So, my day started well. 5 o'clock this morning, I was cycling along the beach just prior to our conversation this morning. So, good start to the day.
And there's a certain reason why you're there, right?
In Portugal?
Yes.
Well, I am running a boot camp later in the month. I run content marketing boot camps where I meet with small, medium-sized businesses and talk about their blogging, their social media, and their email activities. Although I do tend to come down here once a year with the family on family vacation, but I like to mix it up with a little bit of work on the side as well. So we come down for the summer. I work in the mornings and hang out with the families in the afternoon, and after the kids have gone back to bed, again, plug the computer in and get back to it. It's a great way to spend the summer.
Great. Well, John is a marketing strategist and author. He is a author in his I think it's the most recent book is the Becoming the Expert book, correct?
Becoming the Expert was my first book,
Okay.
Becoming the Expert, Enhancing Your Business Reputation Through Thought Leadership Marketing. And again, talks about what I call my holy trinity, which is blogging, email marketing, and social media, in that order. I speak to a lot of people. They tell me they're on social media, but they're not blogging and they're not doing email marketing. And I ask them, what are you putting out on social media? Because if you're not creating the content first, you're probably putting out somebody else's content. And that's like pouring fuel on other people's thought leadership. So really you need to start blogging first, which kind of sounds strange from somebody who's gainfully employed by an email marketing company, but I believe your marketing starts first and foremost with your company blog, then your email, and then your social media in that specific order.
I agree. And that's the reason why I wanted to have you on the show today, is to talk about that holy trinity. For me, the book I'm writing is going to be about automation, branding, and customer service. And I think that your trinity, which is the blogging, email marketing, and social media, definitely complement each other. So I wanted to dive in more detail. If I'm a business owner or I just want to get started in a business, why is it important to do those 3 items? And can you give us a quick rundown as far as some tips maybe for each of those?
Yeah, sure. But first and foremost, you should have a blog, because a blog gives your business a foundation on the internet. And I like to think of it almost like a pulse. It's a beating pulse. The internet is literally littered with tens of millions of static websites, and design best practices change every 2 or 3 months, and if you're not constantly updating your website, nobody knows if you're in business anymore. So if you have a blog on your website and that's updated on a fairly regular basis, people can see your business is still very much alive. I believe marketing is all about solving problems. So the best content you put out there on your blog is problem-solving content. Just like the content that we write for the eye contact email marketing blog. We take a problem, we solve that problem, and if we can solve a problem for one person, the chances are, depending on the size of the niche you're targeting, there was another 10, 100, 1,000, million people you can solve that problem for. When you push your content out there, it enables you to engage with people and it enables you to capture their email addresses. Once you've captured their email addresses, you then have a relationship with them and you can actively engage them and you can actively actively sell to them as well. So that's why it starts with the blog first. It's the pulse, the beating heart of your business. And it's also like a net that you can cast out and capture your contact details of potential customers who you can then engage in a more business-like environment in the email inbox and hopefully sell to them. Social media helps because you're then able to engage them in a more regular pattern, so 2 or 3 times a day via Facebook, multiple times a day via Twitter, etc., etc., etc. But your blog and your email are probably the most important parts of that process, because that's where people find you, and that's where ultimately you will sell to people via those platforms.
I think it comes down to the new value proposition is the help that you offer, the content you offer, as much as you can provide for quote unquote free to let people learn about how you can help and assist, and then they trust you, then they would want to do business with you. A long time ago, anything you had as far as information or product you would sell. Now you need to give information away to sell a product or service. And I agree with you with the blog. It's very important. And I think that that is something that is what I call static content. It can always be found, can always be Googled, and people can consume it. And then it can be a way for you to obtain email addresses and then start email marketing and use social media, which to me are timely, right? Because once they receive those bits of content, they go away for a while and they get buried under other content from competitors and people that are not in your industry. So I think the blog is a good way to keep in front of people, and you can reuse that over and over and reshare it. And then on email marketing, that's the way to build that personal relationship. And then with social media, it's just putting those little feelers out there, trying to get people interested and drive them back to your website landing pages or your blog, right?
Exactly. And it's interesting what you say about putting the free content out there. It doesn't matter what industry you're in, I could look at a website about landscape gardening, and they could, teach me how to, plant a perfect bed of flowers. And I'm going to watch that, and I might enjoy that. But am I going to do it myself? I'm going to pay the guy that knows what he's doing to do it.
Right.
It's the same. I cycle as a hobby, and if my bike breaks down, I go to the web, I go to blogs, I go to YouTube, and I teach myself how to fix the bike. Inevitably, I break it and then have to take it to the shop. So if you want to content, I'm going to go to you because I trust you to get it done.
Right. It's like the simple things or the low-hanging fruit are things that you could teach people to do, then they'll come back to you for more. Years ago, I used to use the example of a plumber that would maybe have a YouTube video on how to unclog a toilet, right? Why pay somebody $150 for a service call to come out to your house and plunge your toilet when you can do that? But maybe you're having some trouble, and then the plumber says, here's a nifty little trick, do this, and then it'll be clear. But then if a pipe bursts in my house, who am I going to think to call? It's going to be that plumber. And I think that's, great to do that and put information out there about, what your niche is.
And I think, your blog and your email and certainly your social media as well, it's very similar to the classified advertising that you used to get in newspapers back in the day. You would see that advert for that plumber every single day, but you wouldn't call that plumber until your kitchen sink got blocked. But it's just putting the good content out there and just reminding people that you exist. And when the time is right, it's about hitting the right people, the right message at the right time. And at that right time, they will come to you and buy your services.
Yeah, I think there's a difference between, brand recognition and then also just getting a message out there that you can keep people in mind for when you need that, when they need something. And then also on the other side, they may tell someone else referrals, right? I guess is what I'm basically trying to say. Hey, I watched this great video. I read this great article and it was from so-and-so who's a plumber or a bicycle repairman. Maybe I don't have that problem, but I know somebody who does. Maybe I know someone whose bike broke down and I can recommend that bike shop because they put out some great content.
Yeah, 100%.
Great. So what other tips could you provide people that are listening to, I guess, basically for what you're talking about with these 3 things is content? What are some tips to help with, I guess, creating valuable and quality content if you don't have time or a budget?
I think the most important tip is never guess what your client's problems are. You see this all of the time. Certainly in the UK, there's a television program called Dragon's Den. I think it's called Shark Tank in the
Oh,
US.
okay.
Where
That's cool. You have a
you
version
have
there.
inventors going to investors. And yeah, they come along to them with all sorts of crazy ideas. And more often than not, they will have created a product that doesn't actually solve a problem just because they've had a brainwave and they've come up with it. I guess one of the most famous examples in the UK was there was a guy who came along with a device to keep cucumbers fresh in a fridge. He was concerned that his wife was going out and buying cucumbers and she'd cut into them, and 2 or 3 days later, they'd go soft and he'd have to throw them out. So he invented this device, which was essentially a condom that you put on the end of a cucumber, and it kept your cucumber fresh for another 2 days. The problem was a cucumber, costs less than $1. Nobody is worried if their cucumber doesn't stay fresh for more than a week. So he had remortgaged his house. He'd gone to China. He'd got a supplier to create these things, and yet nobody wanted them. So if he'd done a little research, if he'd gone out and asked 100 housewives, what they're concerned about, maybe they would have been concerned about something else, and that would have triggered an idea. And it's exactly the same for a number of businesses. I see software developers developing software that solves a problem that they think a retailer might have, but because they're not retailers, that might not actually be a problem. So
Right.
One of the best pieces of advice I can give you is before you start creating content, just speak to a couple of clients or a couple of people in the industry and just ask them what makes your life difficult. And they will probably give you a list of 10 things. And if you can solve just one of those problems, again, depending on the size of the niche you're serving, you've solved the problem for another 10, 100,000 people, and so on. So never second guess what people's problems are. Unless you've walked a mile in their shoes, you wouldn't know. So always go directly to the source and find out what it is, and then attempt to solve those problems for them.
Yeah, I definitely think using feedback from existing and possible customers definitely helps, and using surveys can help there, Twitter polls. It'll help you obtain information to help you craft your message. It also reminded me of an article I read a while back talking about how a lot of companies don't really have an effective value statement when they start a business or have a business.
Mm-hmm.
I may say, I want to change the world by helping every company with their marketing needs. What does that mean? That means I want to make money by helping customers with marketing, right? And I just want to collect their money and then give them ideas on what to do with marketing. Where if I say I want to help small businesses start off correctly by assisting them in the first 3 months of their business and help them ramp up their marketing, there is my niche. There's my target. That is a goal that I have. And if I meet that goal, that makes me successful, and people will start talking about what I'm doing. And in turn, just as circling around, it allows me to specifically curate my content for my audience and tell them how exactly I'm going to help them. And maybe it'll lure some potential clients and keep my keep my audience where it needs to be. Like people that don't have anything to do with small business may not want to follow me, and that's okay.
Yeah. I think it's interesting because a lot of people see marketing as like rocket science. They see it as this highly polluted industry that's very, very complicated and very, very hard. Marketing is difficult because it's something you've got to constantly do. You've got to constantly roll things out. It's like a war of attrition. But more often than not, it's basically following common sense rules. And I think a lot of people, they start a small business and they may be a plumber, they may be a landscape gardener, they may have a bicycle shop or whatever they do, and they don't see themselves as marketeers. But the fact is that they are probably the best marketeers for their business because they know their customers, they know their customers' problems. I see a lot of these people outsourcing their marketing to professional marketeers who know nothing about their business. And it costs a lot of money and it perhaps doesn't work so well. Whereas if they follow these basic common sense rules, not to say you can't outsource, but you should take ownership of your own marketing, because as a small business person,
Right.
you are by far the best person to market your business, because at the end of the day, people buy off people they like and trust. As a small business person, you are the business, so you want people to like and trust you,
Right.
not some bizarre marketing message that's been dreamt up by somebody who doesn't know A, your business, or B, your clients.
And I would add on, A, be yourself, and then, B, use your personality. Like you said, your business, just get in front of a camera or a computer, produce some content, put it out there, you'll get better. I mean, I started this podcast and it was just audio and I was horrible at it. I'm getting better, and now I'm doing video and I'm having people on. You iterate, you do better, and people see that you grow and that you have expanded and learned. They don't expect you to be the best marketeer, right? They expect you to provide them with value and information. So get started and just do it. Just like I think on a previous episode with the guys from Triangle Cast, we said just do it. So don't be afraid. Just get out there and start creating.
100%. I saw a video a couple of weeks ago by Gary Vaynerchuk, and he was talking about the importance of video marketing. And before we went onto this call, we discussed how I'm not 100% comfortable in front of a camera. I can speak in front of a large audience. I can speak to a microphone. But as soon as you put me in front of a camera, I fall to bits. But Gary Vaynerchuk was talking about his first videos. Before he set up his marketing agency, he ran a wine business. And he was doing YouTube videos where he was talking about the wines that he was bringing to his business. He says when he looks back at them now, they were like hostage videos. They were in the corner of a room. They were badly lit. He looked socially awkward, but he was doing them. And nobody saw his first 100 videos, just a handful of people. A great example of this is I have a friend in the UK who runs a marketing company, but as a sideline or a side gig, he makes videos about his hobby, and he talks about remote control airplanes. Cool. And there's no advertising on his videos, but he has affiliate links below the videos, and he just turns up every single day. He's authentic. He doesn't try to be anybody else, and he just talks with passion about his hobby. And in the past 12 months, he's generated more than $150,000 in e-commerce revenues from affiliate links underneath those videos. And he's not actually selling. He's just talking about things that he's purchased, planes that he's flown, cameras that he attaches to things. He just talks with passion and authority. And the money's come in almost as a happy byproduct. So it's just about putting yourself out there. The first 3 months, nothing will happen. 6 months, things might start happening. A year later, you'll definitely see revenue coming in.
Yeah, I think if you're consistent and you just really believe in what you're doing, everything will fall into place later. I want to start wrapping it up because you and I could probably talk all day about marketing and provide some great information. I think that would allow us to have another show down the road and get together and do this again. It's definitely been enjoyable. But John, if folks wanted to find you on social media or anywhere on the internet, what is the best way to do that?
Okay, well, you can find me on Twitter at John_W_Hayes. You can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/becoming the expert. Or if you type in John W. Hayes into Amazon, you will find links to my 4 books.
I highly recommend his books. They're a great read. They're very helpful. So definitely give him a follow. He puts out some great content, and he basically is authentic, and he puts out his personality like he's telling us to do. Shows us when he's doing his workshops, etc. And I think it was a great time talking with you today. Just want to tell folks how to find me in case this is the first time they're listening. All my shows can be listened to at hankhoffmeier.com/Alexa. That's where all my podcasts and videos are posted. You can also sign up to receive alerts about new podcast episodes via email on my website. And you can follow me on Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook. Just search Hank Hoffmeier on Google. My name is unique. I'll come up. All my channels will be there, and you'll be able to follow me. So, John, I really appreciate you being on today, and I hope we can get together again soon.
Thank you very much, Frank. It's been a pleasure.